Good morning. It is me, Pearl, and this is Tuned in Tarot. And we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine inside of ourselves. Understanding whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us in our interactions with others, in our external environment. And if we want to see change, we have to actively shift and make changes within ourselves. And this is the day that we look at the energy to try to see what changes we need to make. And then later during the week, we kind of get a more personal message from the Tell Me Everything spread I do for members on Thursday. If you want to become a member, all the information is below. Um, and then we usually do another check-in on the weekend with Grace Strega. If you happen to catch that yesterday, it was a fun one. If not, you can go to Grace Strega's Instagram page and see the full check-in we did yesterday. It was pretty good. Divine Feminine is going to go first today because she had a lot more cards showing than the masculine. He had no cards showing, so he's keeping things close to his chest. Both counterparts were doing overthinking. I actually held back the divine masculine's overthinking in a couple of instances where he spit out 3 cards and then for like a single position. And then I went over to the divine feminine side and she did it. She ended up doing that. So she actually has a position with 4 cards in it. And I was just like, okay, you know what? Fine. Overthink if you want to. That tracks. So when I'm using she and he, and when I'm describing masculine and feminine, I want you to sort of surrender your usual associations with biology or gender. It's not about that. It is an energy that we just, I guess, sort of inconveniently use these terms because they make us think of gender. But gender is a construct. Biology is biology, gender, construct, energy, energies. Energy and biology are kind of similar. So your person is not just a masculine. So if you're listening to only masculine readings, you're selling yourself short. You have no idea what your person's feminine side of self is feeling because you're not tuned into it. It will be similar to what you're feeling and thinking, and that might surprise you because you're just only looking at the masculine side, or vice versa. So both sides are about you, and you might think about someone else when you hear these readings, and that's okay. But it's really just about that person reflecting back your own energy. All right, let's get started. You come here to my readings usually for a reason. You're hoping to hear something from the messages. There's probably something in your life that you want to happen, that you think it's going to make you feel better. It seems like it's really vital, important. Like that's the thing, that this is the thing. So, and this can be in relationship. It can be receiving communication. It can be coming into union. It can be changing the nature of the relationship. It can be in career. It can be, changing your field, expanding into a more creative endeavor. Like there's all different desires we have. We think like, oh, if I was just doing this right now, everything would be so good. So hold that, whatever that is, just lightly. And that thing, that is what your ego thinks it needs in order to to feel equilibrium or to feel happier, to feel balanced. That's what your ego thinks you need. Sometimes our ego is in tune. Like sometimes our ego has a positive inclination, and other times it's giving us an illusion. It's like, this is going to make us feel better. So let's check it. Whatever that was, this is what you actually need. This is the Ace of Swords. This is truth, clarity. It is really more about seeing things in a new way because it's a card that's associated with the future, seeing into the future perspectives. There's an a laurel crown associated with the Smith Waite version, which as tarot readers, we're constantly, there's some major decks that we constantly go back to, and we have those decks as the sort of general meaning that we all learned initially. The variations on the cards are what give us deeper meanings, layers, and messages, which incidentally, if you want to send me a deck, there's a link to send me a deck. I always forget to say that now, and you know what? I don't get decks, so I forget to say it. You can send me a deck. There's a link below, and I love getting them. My mail is being safely forwarded right now because I know some of you know I'm like in weird transition. So I will receive your decks. But that's the beauty of all these different decks. In this deck, instead of the laurel crown, we have this crown of enlightenment. The laurel crown is one about peace. Enlightenment brings peace. So it's still giving us the same kind of message, but there's revelatory sort of an element here. It's not just a peace. It's seeing clearly. There's all this light. It's true revelation. So this is what you actually need. You need to see things in a new way. This can be about changing your thoughts from, nothing works out for me, no one ever chooses me, blah, 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 to something that's going to be affirming of your new self-concept. Also, if we have not been talking or communicating or telling the truth, correct, and to speak with integrity. So that is what we actually need this week. Okay, great. Let's get started. I guess I'll put this here. So, Divine Feminine, top of the deck. For the Divine Check-In, if you've not seen one of these before, the way this works is I use 2 decks for each side of self. In the headspace today, I'm using the Star Spinner Tarot for the Divine Feminine. This is the Page of Cups. And we're going to look at her headspace first in detail. And then we're going to check her headspace against her heart and see if there's union, agreement, conflict, and also if she's doing a good job of, if she's having fearful thoughts, she's tuning into her heart, feeling calm, peaceful, nothing to fear. Or if she's feeling fear, then her head is like, there's nothing to worry about, you're fine. So you want to see that balancing happening. That's what we're looking for. Same thing for the masculine side. Okay, so this is the overall thing on Divine Feminine's mind right now. This is all her thoughts have this element associated with them. And the Page of Cups is a lovely energy. This is the card that is often associated with true love. But it's a page, so there is emotional underdevelopment there, little fantasy. We do see here this element of loyalty from this little puppy, but it's also like puppy love reference. The Page of Cups is an energy of going and, carving your initials on a tree, which is lovely, but relatively shallow gesture. It's sort of like, okay. But, your initials are on a tree. This is so nice, right? This is also about receiving new offers of love, having a lot of new opportunities to explore love, being curious and playful. And it can also be about receiving apologies. There's this little house back here. Divine Feminine is in her mermaid energy here, so she's fully immersed in her emotions. And, I don't know, there's this little feeling of puppy love here, and it's not a bad thing. It feels good. It doesn't feel like I'm not focused on the fantasy side or the emotional underdevelopment of the card. I'm really just associated on this feeling of like this new outlook on how she loves or can love or what love can be, something like that. Because the thing that's underlying all of her thoughts and decisions is this Page of Swords. So that's 2 pages. We've got this new energy. And the Page of Swords is looking, seeing, watching. So I'm feeling that Divine Feminine is looking to see if the masculine is preparing to come forward bravely, to make this offer of love, to give these apologies, to show his loyalty. And I also think this is about her embracing that first lesson that we got at the very beginning of the reading that we need today. Here's the sword, right? That is here in the Ace of Swords. And this is what we need to begin this new cycle that we're having, because this is all new energy. Pages and aces are the only cards we've looked at so far. For me, that's like we're on this new part of our cycle. We need to then envision ourselves in a new way. We need to think in a new way. And I see Divine Feminine being curious and playful and brave. So this is probably, being hopeful about union that's we've been hearing percolating. But I also think it's like, I'm reflecting back upon this energy for myself, because that's usually how I gauge my ego is in here, right? It's not completely gone. And for me, this is like, I'm dating, and what I'm discovering when I'm dating and meeting new people is that each person is an opportunity to check my beliefs, to see what beliefs I have. And what's really interesting is I have in my dating profile, I have one of the little, it's hinged, so there's like blurbs or whatever, quotes. And one of the things I said was that it's like, what are you looking for? And I said, I'm looking for a boyfriend. Okay? Like, at the bare minimum, a boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever. But I put boyfriend on there because I'm currently seeking masculine energy. And then I said, one who will not roll their eyes when I think when I base their behavioral responses on their zodiacal chart placements, and one who is ready for commitment, period. So that's like on my profile. It's usually ignored, completely ignored. How do I know? Because 18-year-olds like me. I'm pretty sure they don't want to settle down with a 40-year-old woman. Also, that's so fucking weird. I can't with it. Ugh. Anyway, for the very first time a few days ago, someone messaged to that blurb, I am ready for it. A masculine. First time that's ever happened. And it wasn't more so that I was like, oh, this is my true love now that's ready for commitment. It was the way that I use my dating profile the way I use my tarot readings that pop up in TikTok now, which is like, whatever that tells me, that's what my beliefs are. If it's like, oh, the divine masculine is twiddling his thumbs and not doing anything, and he's not doing, I'm like, okay, great. Well, I still think that I'm not taking action in my life, and I'm not like doing enough, and I'm not showing up for myself, and I need to fix that, right? And if I go to my dating profile and the guys are like, oh, you're a MILF, and like, I'm like, well, people think I'm hot now, which is definitely not what I thought before, but now they're still objectifying me. And it's weird. It's weird. But I'm also seeing that like in my 20s, I didn't feel hot. And now I'm like, it's almost like I'm progressing. Like, I'm like, oh, 20-year-old men like me. Oh, 30-year-old men like me. Oh, 40, like, it's like I'm getting closer to where I need to go. And honestly, I'm so immature. Like, why do I think I'm going to get like a super mature person? It's not going to happen. Anyway, I'm using it as this way to gauge, like, where is my mind? And 2 days ago, when I got that message, I was like, holy shit. I believe now that there are masculines who are attractive, respectful, interesting, at the very least, young in this case, that are ready to commit. So divine feminine, that's what this has definitely been about. Like, finally taking these new ideas and implementing them. And it doesn't mean that like, oh, now I'm going to be with this person. I don't know. But it just means that I am believing that the type of person that I would like to be with is able to meet me where I'm at, which means that if there was somebody I was holding on to before, I can believe that that person has shifted with me, assuming they've done that same work that I've done. All right. Wow, that was a long explanation. We're in 15 minutes in. Great. Okay, let's go. So the first thing on Divine Feminine's mind is mental conflict. This is the 5 of Swords. This angel is reaching for this 2 of Swords while holding on to these 3 swords. This card is associated with defeat, giving up on something, and walking away from something. Swords are about thoughts. That's why we were talking about the Ace of Swords being about changing your mind, changing your thoughts, changing your perspective. So this is definitely a card that I usually associate with being defeated by my thoughts about. And in this case, we've got the 3 swords and a decision. So Divine Feminine is making decisions, and it's the first thing on her mind. And she wants to make the right decision so that she doesn't hurt herself or anyone else again. And she's feeling conflicted and a little bit defeated about this, not knowing what decision to make about her happiness, which literally came out transverse, not upright, not in reverse. That was the opposite. Not upright, not in reverse, but transverse. So it's literally like she can't decide what would really make her happy. Then there's the Lovers. And it's 2 masculines in this image, because this deck has multiple Lovers cards with different, like it has like hetero and different groupings of couples. So it literally looks like she can't decide what type of masculine energy she wants to would make her happy, right? She's thinking about true love and being in love, and she's like, I literally can't make up my mind about what would make me happy in love. Because the Tower. The Tower is clarifying this mental conflict. So okay, so I'm hearing Divine Feminine needs to release the decision-making process, and fighting against this, it's like she just needs to make a choice and let it go. What's happening is she can't make a choice because she needs to see if her choice is working. She's like, I'll decide, but I need a sign that my decision is the right one. And the universe is like, any decision you make is right. If you want this person will be in alignment with you. If you want this person, because you know how to control your thoughts. So you know how to get into alignment with any person. So you just have to make a choice. And the feminine is like, can I just get a sign though? Because myself, I don't want to have another Tower moment. I don't want to hurt myself. I'm doing the right thing. And you're just like, okay, I give you signs every day. My job is literally to interpret signs, ego. And I've given you signs. I've shown you exactly what you need. I've told you exactly what you need. I literally tell you every Monday what everybody needs. That's all the signs you need. It's 8:44 on the clock. Look, there's another sign. My family's like, yeah, but what do those signs even mean? And that's where we're at with this overthinking business here. This is the place where 4 cards came out. And it's not surprisingly clarifying. I don't know what makes me happy. How come? I don't know what makes me happy. Well, let's see. Oh. it never ceases to amaze me. I feel emotional. I don't want to cry, but I feel like the emotion coming up. Like, I do this job every day. I shuffle the cards. I have so many decks. You can see I have a cart of decks right here. And this shit happens. And I'm just like, how the fuck? So, doesn't know exactly what will make her happy because this is the High Priestess is on the top here. This is the outcome of these 3 cards, okay? She has tuned into her heart space to balance herself out. She's maintaining this higher level, what do I want to say? Like, she's above it all. She's trying to be above it all, okay? And not get too attached to anything, to be very, very detached, to be very much more spiritual in this High Priestess energy. Because of this story. That 3 of Swords that she was holding on to here, the reason for her mental conflict. The 3 of Swords that she's protecting herself from, the 8 of Swords. This is a card of putting, it's being a prisoner of your own mind, but it's protecting yourself there because your ego is like, I got to protect myself from getting hurt because I can't trust the masculine energy, the sneaky, shady, third party, cheating, not being honest, being deceitful, doing all this stuff behind the scenes. I have to protect myself from that, right? So Divine Feminine has had to learn to trust herself. And because she's had to learn to trust herself, now she's not quite entirely sure what will make her happy, like what the masculine can do to make her happy. How he can reassure her, what he could say to make up for this happening. And then she's thinking, clarifying the Lovers. The 6 of Swords. So here we've got 6 for the Lovers. The 6 of Swords, which is a card of moving to the next level, moving to a new shore, moving to calmer waters. And the 8 of Cups, which is walking away from something or returning, coming back. What's really interesting is this mermaid here. She's now in her human form. She's on land, and the small house is now a castle. There's something bigger calling her than this really old self-concept that she formed when she was a teen. So what used to make her happy, she's understanding, could not make her happy anymore. It might be a certain person, but I really think it's more just a way of interacting with any people, not just one particular person. Just how she used to act, how she used to interact. The Page energy, the immature energy, the Page of Swords, which is also about spying and social media interactions. This is like surface level stuff. Divine Feminine wants deeper connection, but is afraid of deeper connection because of the heartbreak she suffered. So that's what she's thinking about right now. That's a lot. Also, this can be about her really longing for the divine masculine to return, because in this image, there's usually a divine masculine, and its death is in the boat with them. So it's as if this masculine has ended, like gone away, and she's longing for him to return. And that's kind of, she's not exactly sure what would make her happy in a new relationship because she's still longing for this return of this other person. So let's go now to her heart space. Top of the deck, overall energy of the heart space, clarifying the Page of Cups, is the Three of Wands in reverse. So it's time for new love. It's time for this offer to come through. It's time for the divine feminine to mature in love. Overdue, past due time. The niggling feeling in her heart space, clarifying this Page of Swords energy, is the Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups is absolutely able to navigate her emotions. I'm drawn to the word on this card, which is from the Field Tarot, and it says intuition. So divine feminine is trusting her intuition about the divine masculine stepping up and communicating with this offer of love. She knows that there's going to be a masculine that's going to do it. Probably more than one, to be honest, because this has been a long time coming. Clarifying the mental conflict. We had 2 cards come out for her, I think. Yep. 265, yep. Oh my God. The Devil in reverse and the Princess of Wands in reverse. So there's healing from the immature sexual energy, honestly, the feminine was carrying herself, where she was putting her longing for sexual connection, the responsibility for that, on this masculine energy that wasn't showing up. And then she was getting salty because he was having his own sexual experiences, and she was like, but I'm devoted to you, and like, why isn't that happening? And so in her mind, those sexual experiences were, she needed to have those too. And I think there is a healing here. There is an acknowledgement that those kinds of shallow connections, it didn't give her anything. It wasn't giving anything to the masculine. That's why he was such a mess with it. Like, but this has been what's been difficult for her to deal with. Closing out karmic cycles, sexual healing, addiction, obsession, those kinds of things. But I really think this is about her being conflicted about being able to have, because this next part where she's like, I don't know what makes me happy. It's like she went looking, she went exploring. This is an exploration. It says exploration on it. She went and did some sexual exploration, and she was like, no, that's not what was missing. That wasn't it. I don't know why this is so hard for me to get out today. The Sun in transverse is being clarified by the Two of Wands, and it says planning on it. And the Two of Wands is a spiritual journey. It's associated with the twin flame journey. Divine Feminine wasn't sure what would make her happy, because she felt that there is this soulmate that she's waiting for. And with the Page of Swords and underlying all thoughts and decisions, she's wanting to make sure she sees this correctly. Like, she doesn't want to miss an opportunity with someone because she's attached to an energy that she associated with her soulmate. Clarifying this Lovers card is the Two of Swords in reverse. And you know what? I love this because she's ready to make a decision. She is absolutely ready to make the decision. We saw in the Five of Swords that she was defeated because she couldn't make up her mind, but she's made up her mind. And to be honest with you, after this Two of Wands comes before this particular card, I feel that she's probably chosen a twin who matches her masculine energy exactly. So she wants to be with someone she considers her twin, her perfect match, her perfect complement, yin yang, somebody that's definitely going to meet her where she's at. This Tower is being clarified by the Ace of Wands in reverse, again with the sexual energy. Literally, this card just says energy, but it is a card I associate a lot with sexual energy. And it's what really caused the Tower moments for her. Her experiences with the masculine, having other parties, her experience with dabbling in that herself, the releasing of sexual trauma, sexual wounds, that is what is being released right now. So any sexual energy that is just not in alignment with sacred sexual union, that's being completely released in her heart space. She's deciding, I don't want any sexual karmic partners. I don't want anything like that. I want to have sacred union with a soulmate. Nothing less than that. So remember when I said at the beginning of the reading, the person that you're focused on, if they are your match, this is how they feel too. This is not just the feminine person in the relationship. It's the feminine energy in the dynamic between the twins. This next thing here, all this stuff, she's protecting herself, yada, yada, trying to rise above it. She's doing a good job because the Fear card is coming out in reverse, the Nine of Swords, which is you're trapped in a prison of your own thinking. Here's the prison of your own thinking. And she's tuning into her heart space here. She's even touching at the heart space. Well, it's actually near the throat. But this fear it's not something she's holding in her heart. It's on her mind, but it's not in her heart. It's not keeping her from making the choice to be, oh my God, to be in sacred union with her twin. Four of Wands energy there. For the twin to return to her. For the relationship that has died to come back. That tracks. My level of calm right now, because this is about to happen to me. Like, I'm 100% sure. And I'm just calm because I just know that it is. So I'll let you know how it goes. All right, top of the deck for the Divine Masculine. So after we're going to go back to the feminine side, we're going to look at the oracles for her. We're going to look at her theme for the week. The oracles I chose today, we're going to do her archetype that's going to help her for this next week, the guardian that is assigned to her, her full moon release work, and her light work that will help her during the week. So we're going to do that after, but now we're going to go over to the masculine side of self. Top of the deck for the masculine side, the Justice card. Now, if any one of you were at my live TikTok last night, I did around 11 p.m. midnight time. I did a reading for the collective, and Justice came out like this. I think it was the closing reading, actually, which was a great reading. It was the last thing I did to close out that reading, because just in case you don't know, I do read on TikTok. I do personal readings, $11, $22, or $33 readings, like once or twice a day, 6 days a week. So you can find me over there. And I usually do a little collective reading while I'm waiting for people who may want to book a personal reading. So you can often catch a collective reading just when I'm live. And this card came out transverse, which I said last night, this is literally happening right now. The scales are literally being balanced right now. So, and then the rest of the cards that came out, I said, the person that has been communicating, the person that has been speaking directly and saying everything, that person is about to see this turnaround. What has been very unfair is about to be balanced. So you're about to see all of the text messages returned, all of the phone calls returned, all of the time spent, all of the energy, all of the words of affirmation you sent your person, all of that last night at 12:22, when I did that reading, I said, this is in process. This is what is happening right now. And I wake up this morning and here's the Justice card, and it's in reverse for the masculine. And it's showing us that he woke up this morning thinking, this has been so unfair. This has been so imbalanced that this divine feminine, who I love, know that I love, know is my soulmate, know is an incredible person, know everything I know about, has written to me page after page after page after page of loving messages, has sent me loving energy, has given so much of her headspace to me. And I am going to balance the scales. I will not let this be unfair anymore. And to confirm that reading that I did last night into this reading this morning, what is underlying all of this masculine's thoughts and decisions right now is the 10 of Wands, which is the completion on the Wands cards. It's when we finally put down, unburden, unload, and do what? Fucking communicate every goddamn thing we've been hiding. And there's a lot of secrets, right? Look at all these snakes. There's been a lot of transformation for this masculine. There's been a lot of growth and a lot of shedding of the skin. And you're going to hear about it. Interestingly, all 10 cards in the suit of Wands are here. It's like you're going to hear about this whole journey from the point that he first desired you and the Ace of Wands to the moment that he is unburdening right now. The first thing on his mind, and this is a masculine who is overthinking. My God, I can't fucking make it up. The Queen of Swords and the Three of Swords. The first thing on his mind is, will this queen, who's in reverse, will she block me? I caused her so much pain. Will she cut me out? Will she nip this in the bud? Has she already done that? She says she wants to have a conversation. What type of conversation is it? Is it the last conversation? Is it the first conversation? Is she going to love me? Is she going to hate me? Is she going to let me in? He's loop thinking. Because when the Queen of Swords comes out, that's overthinking a lot. I've hurt her. I don't know what to say. I want back and forth. The next thing on his mind, hang on, I got to turn all these guys over. I forgot I usually do that. The next thing on his mind is the Six of Cups. The reunion. There's the return that the divine feminine is desiring. She's just like, if you could just come back already, we could just move on and just get fucking married. Like, that's literally what we want to goddamn do. So, the divine masculine is strongly called to return because of the nostalgia, because of all the things he knows. He's like, that scale being imbalanced for him. There's no one on this planet who loves me as much as this divine feminine loves me, and I have treated her so unfairly. And that 11 is just staring at me. You know, I know the Justice card is the 11th card in many decks, but it's really prominent here. The next thing on his mind, can't make it up, Queen of Cups and the 10 of Swords. He wants to end the separation with the Queen of Cups. There she is. He's also feeling so much compassion for the pain that she suffered. He felt it too. It wasn't something that she was doing by herself. This is something that they were doing together, right? They were going through this painful separation together. So he has this empathy and he has this compassion. And he just really wants to end this separation from this woman that he loves, from this person that he loves. The Five of Wands is clarifying the Queen of Swords and the Three of Swords. So this is the mental struggle. He played so many games with the Divine Feminine. He really did. He didn't feel worthy, but he didn't want to let her go. So trying to tell her it was going to work out, and he was playing with her heart, and that is why she got so cruel, so upset with him. It's so interesting because as I'm talking about this, in the back of my mind right now, what I'm thinking about for my masculine energy is, it's like I feel this way with my finances. I feel like I'm always so hopeful that I'm going to be able to address these issues that I've had in the past with abundance that I'm able to create in the future. And I'm always in conflict and overthinking about the times that I've had these traumatic wounds, financial wounds. And it's like I'm always playing catch up, like trying to figure out, it's, you know, like I just got this card. I'm like, okay, now I have this card, I have this payment or whatever. But it's like I'm just shuffling around. Like there's still other things I still need to deal with. But I have to get into a place where I can just cover my basics to be able to address any of the past financial wounds I have. Going into the dealership the other day and getting approved for that loan, which I still think is just incredible. I mean, I guess predatory lending is a thing, but still. The predatory lending has given me the opportunity to fix something that was almost impossible to fix because I couldn't get the thing I needed to fix it. So that's what it feels like for the masculine in terms of trying to actually communicate, come forward, and have this relationship with the Queen of Swords in this protective energy. It's like he has to prove himself before she will let him in. But she's got to let him in order for him to prove himself. It's just like the loan, right? Like I had to take a huge interest rate on my loan, like an ungodly interest rate, the type of an interest rate that I was like, well, if I ever wanted a luxury vehicle, I'm gonna pay for it because this is literally like the price of a much more expensive vehicle at the end of this loan if I don't refinance, which by God, I hope I can do. But it's like I needed them to give me that so that I can make the payments on time and show them I'm not going to believe that I can't do this. You know, one of the things that the sales manager said to me, which of course they're trying to sell me something, but they were also pretty nice people. And I'm like, listen, I'm an Italian from New York, just in case you didn't know that, world. And I know that in my blood, I'm supposed to negotiate with you. But I hate negotiating. So here's the thing. I'm a single mom and I got fucked in my divorce and financially ruined my life. And that's why my credit is shit. And I just need a car today. You all need to make some profit on your sale. I get you. I get that. But I don't want to be here for 8 hours and sitting here with you bringing me $1,000 a month car payments. So give me something to work with. Like just now, like not like 2 hours from now, but just now. Like let's get to the number that we're actually going to negotiate now. Because So like that was the mood. And we were shooting the shit and having fun. And honestly, because I'm an empath, I learned these like harrowing things about one of the salespeople that just had this terrible life experience thing happen to them. And I was like, oh. And then we finished everything and I agreed to the payment, which is, we're never going to talk about it. I agreed to it. And then I was like, well, shit. Literally, that's what I did. The sales manager was like, genuinely, I want to tell you that I believe in you. I believe you can totally handle this payment. And it was touching because it was a moment of real. It was like, oh, I must believe in myself, or I wouldn't have gotten approved. 9/11 on the clock. So the divine masculine is likely in that place because that's where my masculine energy was, dealing with that financial obligation, dealing with that. It was like, you know what? I can do this. What the fuck? Right now I do 1 to 2 times a day on TikTok. Fine. I'll do 4, 5, 6 times a day if I fucking have to. I'll do whatever the hell I have to do in my own, that makes me feel good in my own. I'm not going to go work for somebody that I don't have any passion for, mission for. But as long as I'm on mission, I'll do my mission like 1,000 hours a day. Like I'll make more hours. I'll get a fucking time turner and I'll do this shit up, which is why that old self-concept that my mother put on me, if you followed me for a while, you know that's something that I struggled with recently and kind of came to terms with. This idea that I couldn't provide for myself, take care of myself, or do things for myself came from these weird messages I would get from my mom. And now that it's not my self-concept, I'm like, what do you mean? What did I think I was always gonna have? Like I wasn't gonna actually expand and grow and be able to handle money. Like that doesn't make sense. My job is literally to change my thinking about myself. My job is to tell people how to do that. Like, of course I'm going to be able to do that. So the divine masculine is starting to feel the same. It's like, of course I can do that. Of course I can get through this mental conflict because of this, the temperance card, healing, the balancing, the emotional regulation, the protective energy that is a part of the temperance card. And this is what is clarifying the 6 of Cups. Now, the Temperance card is the fulfillment of the Lover's card. It's the 12th card and the or not the 12th card. I can't remember what number it is now. I just lost it. Hanged Man is 12. It doesn't matter. I just know that it's the fulfillment of the Lover's card. It's the balancing of the energy between the head and the heart. It's the alchemizing. And this past relationship has taught this masculine about how to balance, how to regulate his emotions, how to trust in the divine and the healing that's taking place through the divine. And this final card, clarifying the 10 of Swords and the Queen of Cups, which is wanting to end this painful separation with the Queen of Cups. We see what? The 10 of Pentacles, which is material fulfillment. So divine masculine wants to come forward, have the family, have everything, share the abundance. I just talked at length about abundance without really honing in on the fact that that's money was there in front of me. So everything I was saying about my own journey, my own financial journey, this masculine energy is going through that. And the person that you're focused on in that masculine energy is going through this as well. Okay, so the top of the deck for the heart space now is the Knight of Swords in reverse. This is what's clarifying the Justice card. This is how I knew that what divine masculine was thinking was unfair, is that he hasn't really been forthright, honest, forthcoming with the divine feminine. He hasn't communicated. He's not moved swiftly. He's been reckless in the past with karmic relationships, karmic lessons, karmic situations. He's not been honest about the karmic partners he's had or the contracts he signed, or, you know, he's just not been straight with you. And he's And that's why he doesn't communicate. He doesn't communicate not because he doesn't care about you, because he doesn't love you, because he doesn't want to talk to you. He doesn't communicate with you because he doesn't want to lie to you. Underlying in the heart space, the niggling feeling is the Three of Pentacles, which is a card of the 3D working in the material world. It can be associated with third-party energy, and it's clarifying this Ten of Wands. I actually feel it's multiple layers. I think what we're seeing here is masculine has been burdened by the work that he does in the world. I do think that he has a difficult job with a lot of responsibility, and that job with a lot of responsibility forces how his hand in terms of communication at times. However, that's an external manifestation of an internal struggle. Somebody who wants to avoid communicating is definitely going to throw themselves into a very demanding job. That's a great way of doing it. So there's this element here. The other element is about karmic partnerships and third parties. This divine masculine comes with baggage. He comes with most likely some kind of a tricky energy around him, somebody that's shady and doesn't really act on the up and up. And that person has some control over his 3D reality in some way. This is underlying all of his thoughts, decisions, his feelings in the heart space. But he really wants to collaborate and work with the divine feminine. He can't do that unless he communicates, and he knows this. The Queen of Swords and the Three of Swords is being, oh my God, I can't make it up. It's being clarified by the Four of Swords, which is grief, not communicating, but also it's about having faith. It's about rest and prayer too. So divine masculine is acknowledging in the heart space that this ending that he experienced with the divine feminine, it actually taught him faith. It taught him to believe. It gave him the faith that he needed to be able to come forward now. The Six of Cups, wow, it's being clarified by the Queen of Wands. This is a magnetic pull. This is the divine feminine, the spiritual queen, the Queen of Wands. The wands are spiritual. They are energy. And the divine feminine is so attracted to this masculine and has been for as long as he can remember, this past connection. He's so magnetically pulled and drawn to it. This Queen of Cups and this Ten of Swords is being clarified by the Two of Cups in reverse. So we see what we've been waiting for, what ended, like the physical connection between them, and this desire to bring it back. I also think that there is karmic partnership that this divine masculine has let go of, has ended completely. And I do think that there was a betrayal that happened with the feminine, and he's having compassion for how this must have felt to her. And I think hoping she has compassion for him too. Clarifying this Five of Wands is the Ace of Cups. And here we have the conflict, right? How do we give somebody something we don't know how to do for ourselves? The truth is we can't. We can't. If we don't know how to love ourselves, we can't love someone else. It's just your SOL. The way that you love them is going to be distorted. It's going to be narcissistic. It's going to be codependent, because it's going to accompany a belief that you need that person in order to be whole. And that's not love. That's not self-love. So the divine masculine played a lot of games because he didn't know exactly how to fill his cup. The only way through this impasse is to have done this work. This Temperance card is being clarified by the Seven of Wands. So this divine masculine has determined to fight for this connection to be balanced. That's the conclusion that he's coming to. There's an imbalance here, and I must now fight off any part of myself that is showing up as an external obstacle. I must fight off those obstacles. I must stand my ground in this temperance energy. This could also be him fighting off addictive behaviors in order to remain in temperance, remain regulated, in order to balance these scales. And clarifying the Ten of Pentacles, we have the Seven of Swords. So he's feeling strategic about how he's going to be able to give this Ten of Pentacles. This for me is a card of strategizing, like a surprise. This is unexpected. I don't see this right now as a third party energy card, him like hiding or anything. It's not like that. It doesn't have that feeling. It's very much about him wanting to have the best possible strategy, figuring out how to get away with what it is he wants to accomplish. Like, I wanted to get back to the East Coast. I haven't seen my family in 5 years. I want to see my fucking family dog. He's getting old. He's so gray every time I see him on the phone. My grandmother's burial is at the end of May because in upstate New York, the ground is too cold to bury people in the winter. So she passed in December, and we're going to have her actual burial service in May. So I wanted to be there. And I was determined to get there. I didn't know how the hell I could do it. And I wanted like some kind of a strategy or a plan to be able to get the car I need, pack it up, drive it across the country, like everything that I need to do. So it's kind of like this. The masculine is in this planning phase, strategizing. How do I surprise this feminine with this union? Because I have to do it in such a way that's going to captivate her, because it's like going to get that loan. And one of the reasons why I ended up with a ridiculously expensive car, which I'm not going to say I regret it because it's pretty nice. Being afraid of where to park it isn't nice, but I don't regret it. But one of the reasons that it happened is because when they ran my credit, I didn't think I was going to get approved. So when they sent me the car, when they were like, well, this car is available, I was laughing. I had told them what I wanted my payment to be roughly, and what type of car that I wanted. They asked me what I wanted first, and I said, if I could get any car at your lot, I want a brand new Chrysler 300 with the V8. I don't even give a shit about that. But I was like, that's what I wanted. Like, that's what I said. But then they sent me this freaking used Chrysler 300 that was like still $30,000 or something. And I was like, actually, to be honest with you, I need something bigger because I need to be able to fit my stuff in it. So I'm being impractical right now, wanting this luxury sedan. Because the true car I want is a Bentley, and the Chrysler 300 has Bentley vibes. It's an entry-level Bentley vibe for me. So then they sent me this Jeep Compass. And because I just really didn't think I was going to be approved, because they told me I was pre-approved, and I was like, whatever. They're not going to actually approve me. I just thought, oh, I won't be approved. But then I got approved. And I was like, well, shit. Maybe I should have picked a car that was cheaper to try to get an approval for it, because that probably would be better. But then once we had done that, my credit score was right on the edge. Like, if running it just to get that loan, like when I had tried to get a loan a few months before, it didn't work. And every time you try to get a loan, it of course lowers your score. So then I was like, great, now I have to wait, try to build it back up. So we knew the potential that if we ran that credit again, I might not be approved for another car. So they were like, I can do it for you. And we were all just sort of like, I don't want to risk it because, like, I need a car. And the guy's like, well, guess you're getting a Jeep Compass. And I was like, fuck you just a little bit. All right. But anyway, so I had to like, I was like right on the edge. I had to figure out a way to like prove my value to myself long enough to get the bank to believe in me. It was like a little window period. All right, so now let's look at the oracles and the healing for the divine feminine energy. The archetype that is going to assist the feminine this week is releasing femme fatale energy, which is inappropriate use of sensuality and an attachment to money and power. Who, me? Not me. I haven't inappropriately used my sensuality. I've been very, very good with this, but I feel it. We need to come into the light, which highlights the erotic energy of the feminine and opens your heart when dependency is rejected. So I think there's just a little bit, I feel like divine feminine started to feel herself and it's going to her head a little bit. It's fine. Anyway, come into the light. You can be sensual. But you don't need to use your sensuality to get things. And just this is also just about opening your heart. I think you're more in your femme fatale energy and shadow because you're afraid to open your heart. And we saw that with that indecisiveness, right? You're getting a diploma from your guardian angel. Congratulations, you have completed the course. I don't know. Here's your diploma. But there's this support that you're receiving in the lessons learned. This is Hierophant energy to me. So it's like your spiritual journey is going well. And here's a little confirmation that you have learned. And the way that, see, confirmations that you have learned things from the universe, that looks like a very nice card that you get. And, you know, right? That looks like something that you aren't even expecting you receive in a way. Adjustments are required, and I don't know why, but I'm called to read this. Usually I just feel out Moonology cards, but I'm called to read this. Adjustments are required. This is the third quarter moon. Oh, where is the third quarter moon? There it is. Okay. Third, think of yourself as a vessel that has been filled more and more over the past few weeks. Some of what has come your way may have been wonderful, but there's also a lot of negativity, and you need to let go of this. Whatever situation you're asking about now, be honest about whether there are toxic emotions involved which you need to release into the ethers. This card also comes with the promise that all is not lost. However, there are changes or adjustments required before you will get to where you want to be. A change of course is forecast now that recent events have been understood. There may also be a crisis now, which will remind you what you want and what it's time to let go of. So pay attention. To attune to the moon, I am reevaluating. Your life may be out of balance, and this may be causing you issues. It may be time to hatch a whole new plan. Something new and exciting is around the corner, and trust may be required to move the situation forwards. There it is. Because here's what your heart space was telling you. Despite the pain, despite the suffering that you've had to protect yourself from the Seven of Swords energy that you experienced in past relationships, despite that, you have to trust in order to move forward. You have to trust that in that return of the masculine energy in order to be able to move forward. If you don't trust in it, it won't happen. At the time of the third quarter moon, we know where we have been, but where are we going? The moon is now a half moon and slipping away from us as she catches less and less light, moving towards her full disappearance at new moon. It is a time of falling away and a time to reevaluate. No matter when you draw this card, the teaching is to release and to trust. Very interesting that I was called to read that, especially because we are in the third quarter moon. We're going to be entering into the third quarter moon in this next week. So this is probably a timing card, and it said something new and exciting is happening. So this week. All right. The light work card we are getting is Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? So you need nurturing right now, Divine Feminine. You need to nurture yourself. You need to be kind, be generous, be warm to yourself, be very loving, patient. All of the Divine Feminine traits you need to shine on yourself right now. You can also probably call on Mary as a guardian if you are comfortable with Mary, or just a divine goddess of any kind that resonates with you. Your animal spirit oracle message, one of my least favorites, seahorse spirit, watch and wait. I hate this. Are you holding on to judgment, sure that your perspective is the only correct way to look at things? There are as many perspectives as there are creatures in the sea, and when seahorse spirit appears, you are reminded to detach from the experience so you can view it from more than one angle. Pay attention to your hidden beliefs and how they affect the way you think, feel, and act. Are you being fair to all involved, or do you need to step back? Perhaps the drama you have been drawn into is your own. Whatever the actions of others, your challenge is to be non-reactive and not take their words or behaviors personally. Their turbulence may have little to do with you, so remain neutral and until you know more. So remain neutral until you know more. Your perspective may be quite different in time. So all that protection energy was coming up because of the drama that you've been experiencing into the past. Right now, you're challenged to remain non-reactive, not worry about the masculine's turbulence or whatever's going on with the masculine side of self. Doesn't have anything to do with you. You don't need to take it personally. Just remain neutral, because you're going to see that thing happen. That's right around the corner there. And your theme for this week goes very well with how can you mother yourself. This is the Ace of Cups energy. We, of course, did see that over here on the masculine side in the heart space. So the Ace of Cups is all about taking care of yourself, but it's about sharing from the overflow. Right now, your cup should be overflowing if you're at this stage in your journey, and you don't need to hoard what's in your cup. If you're hoarding what's in your cup, then so is the person you're focused on. So share this love, share your attention, share your time, and make sure you're giving that to yourself first, of course. All right, next up for the Divine Masculine, we have, he's in the shadow attributes right now of the Advocate. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is, rather than putting his compassion that we saw him feeling here, the woe is me, everything is unfair to this feminine energy here, and I really fucked that up. He's in guilt energy right now. So he needs to put this compassion he feels into action, so he needs to have compassion for himself and forgive himself, so that he can put the compassion he feels for the feminine into action. If you feel guilty because you haven't forgiven yourself, then you're not going to take action. But if you release this guilt and advocate for yourself, you will feel good enough to actually put the compassion you have for the feminine into the action that both of you desire. Your guardian angel is here to support you in holding this vision. And it is vital that you do that. The Queen of Wands came up in your reading as well. She is my card of holding a vision, and she was clarifying the Six of Cups. So hold on to all of the beauty from everything you've learned from the past and project that into a beautiful future union. Prosperity lies ahead in Taurus season. don't even really need to read this card. It's right here. We're a couple days away from this season. This is where it's at for you, Divine Masculine, this week. Starseed, what lights you up? We know what lights you up. Divine Feminine lights you up. The Divine Feminine is the thing that causes you to want to take action. If you're trying to apply this to yourself rather than a person, that means that what inspires you creatively, what inspires you emotionally, that is what is your cause for action. Boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? You got 2 light worker cards today. So you do have some grasping individuals in your life. We saw that 10 of Wands and the 3 of Pentacles together, which looked like kind of nasty third-party energy. And it does look like you really need to establish way better boundaries with people. If you are in the shadow attributes of the advocate, it is likely that you are advocating for people other than yourself. And you're not having compassion for yourself. And if you're not having compassion for yourself, then you're not having compassion, then you're not putting the compassion for the Divine Feminine into action. So stop doing for everyone else. All these other hands grasping, you're kind of being narcissistic in this way. There's an element of being a people pleaser, which is, I have to do this because no one else can. And that is how you get your self-worth. And it's an ego-based decision. It's not one that's loving, because a loving decision would be, I love you and I know that you're capable. Like the loan officer saying to me, listen, I believe you can pay this loan. And obviously it's going to be beneficial to him. But at the same time, there's like, I believe you can do that. You are absolutely capable. It's not that much money that you would not be able to do this. You can do that. Establish better boundaries. Stop people pleasing. That's enabling other people to not do for themselves. Groundhog Spirit, time to let go. So let go of the guilt, let go of the pain, let go of the fears of this being unfair, let go of those past ties or connections that are grasping and trying to take from you. Let go of those things. Let me give you the full message from Groundhog Spirit. Endings lead to beginnings, and death is a part of life. So Groundhog Spirit is here to let you know that it is time to accept the natural ending of something that is no longer serving you. We love to hold on to what is familiar, but the new needs space to arrive so growth can occur. When Groundhog Spirit appears, it is a sign there is something in your present situation that you need to let go of so that something can be born, something that will far better serve you now. When the groundhog sees his shadow, he retreats to his den. So too might you yearn for a little more time to say goodbye and transition into the new. However, change is coming and it is good, so let go of your resistance. Spring brings many blessings, and what must die will always be reborn in a new form that will be right for you. Life requires change and detachment. Say farewell to whatever once served you, and get ready for something amazing to take its place. Spirit is already sending it your way. And your theme for the week, Divine Masculine, is the 10 of Cups. This is bliss, happiness, and spiritual fulfillment. It is holding that vision of your bliss and not compromising it for anyone else. Keeping your healthy boundaries and doing what it is that you are strategizing. Bringing this material fulfillment of the spiritual. All right, we are at the final part of the reading. This is the closing messages for both masculine and feminine energies. Thank you so much for being here for an hour and 14 minutes. Probably be another 15 before we're done. Just to give you a calendar for the week, I'm off on Tuesdays, so if you send me a message tonight, I do apologize if you do not hear from me until Wednesday. I just usually try to not deal with my email or anything on Tuesday and truly take the day off. So I will be back, though. hitting all those emails, responding. If you book something, you'll get a booking email, etc. You're so welcome, Spirit Abyss. You'll get an email from me by Wednesday morning if you don't hear from me on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I will be resuming TikTok readings live, $11, $22, or $33. And I will continue doing that through next Monday. So I do that every day, once or twice a day. And sometime on the weekend, I don't know the exact time yet, there will be a chance to get free readings from me and Grace Strega. We usually have the opportunity to read for about 6 people. Or I'm sorry, it's actually more than that. It's probably more like 9 people we get. We read for a whole hour, and it's 2 people for each reading. So you get 2 readers. It's pretty fun. So that's going to happen sometime on the weekend. If you want to know exactly, it's best to follow me on Instagram. All the links, everything you could possibly need or curious about, it's on my website, and all those links are below in the description box. I do members only readings. I did 2 last week, and I will resume doing 2 a week. I usually do the Tell Me Everything spread on Thursdays. It's full length. It's similar to the 3-minute ones that I do on TikTok, except it's an hour. It's longer, like this reading. And that's for members. If you want to become a member, it's only $3.33 a month. Again, the link is below. I think that's everything. All right, let's complete the reading now. You both are in the shadow attributes right now of the gambler. You need to follow your intuition even when others doubt you. You need to just take the leap. You're both being overly cautious. You don't want to hurt each other, which is nice, but you're not going to. So just do it. Your guardian angel is here to help you with sweetness. This is a nurturing energy. You did need nurturing on the feminine side of self. And sometimes when we are craving sweets, it's a sign that we really just need to be nurtured. We need to be held. We need to be cozy, safe, and warm. And I think that that's really present for you right now. Your guardian angel is supporting you both in feeling cozy, safe, and warm and nurtured. And it's also this encouragement and this added potential because the guardian angel is here to support you both in being sweet to one another, in really being sweet to one another as you do take this leap. Look at the bigger picture, full moon in Sagittarius. This was in reverse because you're very fixated on the details of how these things are going to happen. And I'm it's probably like a broken record if you follow me regularly, but it's not up to you. You're not responsible for how. You are responsible for why you want something and then following inspiration as it comes to you, which will lead you along the path where you need to go. You don't need to know how you're going to get there. You just need to know that you're going to arrive if you continue to take one step after the other, following your intuitive hits along the way. The ever unfolding rose, cracked open, it is happening for you, not to you. And this is just to help you continue to be in that strength energy where you are not taking things personally, you're controlling your ego. You know that the divine masculine or the divine feminine doesn't do anything to you. If they do, they're likely just acting from their wounds within self. And it's to show you 9:44 on the clock. It's to show you where they are at energetically. So it's for you. I remember my son was little. He had this friend who was a real prick to him one day. And my son told me what this little boy did. And I said, and my son was really mad. He was little. He was probably like 9 or 10. And he was mad about it. And I said, you know what you need to do, Wayne? You need to go thank that little boy because he just did you a huge favor. He just showed you that he is not nice. And now you know. So you don't have to invest your time and energy into him because he's likely not going to be nice back to you. So just thank him for showing you like he wasn't being real with you before, and now he's showing you his true colors. And you'll be happier if you don't interact with him because you won't have those experiences. So he showed you before you got too deep into the friendship. And that's kind of this idea here. When your person does something incomprehensible, it's not something that they have like this little notebook, you know, they're like, what am I going to do to my person today? Like, it's not like that. I mean, if it is, you've got some different type of individual you're working with who's not your counterpart and could be a sociopath, and that's a different problem. But if this is your person, they're not sitting there calculating how to fuck you up. They're sitting there calculating how to unfuck themselves. And part of them thinks you're going to help. And they reach out and do this dumb shit. And then they're like, oh, that didn't go so well. And now I feel bad. So why are you taking that personally? And how often have you done that? Pig spirit. Use your mind wisely. I love little pigoo. I don't know why I like little pigs so much. When they get bigger, I'm a little bit like, but when they're like little tiny, I'm like, oh. Are you ruminating, turning thoughts around and around in your head, but not getting nearer to a decision or a solution? Pig spirit is here to protect you from analysis paralysis. I always like this. For some reason, the protection message always sounds like an infomercial. Are you ruminating? Well, Pig Spirit is here to protect you from analysis paralysis. Let your mind rest now and allow your intelligence to mingle with the mysteries of intuitive guidance, releasing your tight hold on facts and unsolved puzzles, whether it be a relationship or any other aspect of your life. Like, isn't that just an infomercial? I mean, it's so, I love, this is my favorite. Colette Baron Reid is one of the best Oracle creators that I know of, but straight up sounds like an infomercial. In fact, now might be a good time to think about something else altogether and release your grip on needing to know. When your thought processes are muddied by fear and anxiety, allow Pig Spirit to lead you back to the right use of your natural intelligence. Take a break, relax, and release the ball of worry. Soon the smart choice will become clear to you. More facts may be needed. More digging for information and more questioning. When seeking to learn more, enjoy the process of using your thinking prowess. All the elements of your intelligence are reliably guiding you now, once you've given your mind a rest. Alrighty. The both of you were overthinking so much. Definitely applies to you. And finally, the crowning glory, the theme for this week is the Knight of Cups. This is open to receiving and fully expressing love to one another, expressing your feelings, and dealing with issues of being wishy-washy. Are you not wishy-washy? Or are you? Because somebody who's having trouble making a decision is wishy-washy. I love how I like to blame that on my divine masculine person outside of myself, instead of embracing that within myself. I'm wishy-washy as fuck. I always forget that my true core is Cancer. I'm always like, oh yeah, my Mercury and my Mars are in Cancer, so I might seem decisive, but you do not know the amount of wishy-washiness that existed before my Leo ass was just like, will you just do something, right? Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm in a good mood. And you know what? I used to think that I would never be in a good mood until I was with a partner. And not even that long ago, I remember, even in all this time that I've been teaching all these things, when I first started my coven that I started in 2020 with two of my witchy friends, I remember us probably a few months in, we would do readings for each other when we would have our meetings. And they did a reading for me. And I was so upset because and this was in 2020, or maybe like early 2021. And the reading was like, you have to love yourself and feel good on your own. And I was just like, fuck that. Like, I was like, fuck that. Not that I didn't want to love myself, but I was like, I know that already. I remember like the sound of my voice, like how tense I was. Like, I was like, I know that already. Like, like, and I just remember crying and being like, I just feel like other people have partnerships. They're not completely alone. And I've always been alone. And I like, it's funny because I'm trying to recreate the emotion I had then, and I don't feel it. I don't feel it, but I did. I was so, I remember being so sad and so just hurting so much. And I was just talking to my coven sister the other day about it, bringing that up. And she was like, yeah, I remember it was so hard to watch you go through that because both of the people in my coven were already in partnership. And I had not been in partnership for years and years and years and years, like 13 years. So I don't feel that anymore. And I know that I healed whatever it was that made me feel so bad being alone with myself. Like now I'm kind of like my favorite person, and you know, every Leo should feel that way. So I finally do. Like I finally all is well in my world because I'm finally thinking that I'm the shit. So, but that's the journey. You got to think that about yourself. If you don't think that about yourself, why would you expect someone else to? It's such an interesting thing, right? Because we think like, oh, if this person thinks I'm great, then that must mean I'm great. And that's just really not how it works. It just isn't. It's like you decide you're great, and then people agree with you, or they don't. I just watched Dirty Money documentary on Netflix about Trump and all the different terrible corporations in the world. It was really interesting. I highly recommend watching that documentary series. But I was watching the one about Trump, the last episode of the series, and I was like, you know what? Literally, he is the absolutely manifesting his reality. He's a master manifester because in some ways, like he's got deep-seated financial issues. Like I was laughing because I was like relating, like how can I relate to this person's financial issues? Literally, he's billions of dollars in debt. I'm not like billions of dollars in debt. But I could tell that he's exactly like me in the way that he approaches trying to solve the problem, which is that he's delusional. I was like, does he have a Pisces placement in there? And in his mind, he's like, oh yeah, I'll just do this, that, and the other thing, and that will pay off, and then I'll be able to pay everything off. But he doesn't have like, he's too impulsive. Like he's definitely too impulsive. Like I was just watching and like analyzing him and being like, I see a lot of myself in this terrible management of money stuff that I'm really trying to work on and really trying to change my self-concept. But the thing that I really, really took away is that he just tells everybody all the time how great he is, and he's not gone to prison and nothing bad has really happened to him, and he actually does live in luxury. He actually is too big to fail. He's like there. It's like if his debts were called in right now, it would ruin him, and his creditors know that, so they're riding it out with him. And I was like, I feel like that is his self-concept. He's so masterful that even if he's not great at business, which he's not, he still gets to live the life of being great at business because all he does is project that image of himself. And even when you know intuitively it's not true, it doesn't matter. His reality literally trumps yours. And that's the kind of power you want to have in your manifestations. Your desire, your spiritual fulfillment, the thing that you truly want has to trump reality. It literally It has to be like, it doesn't matter what reality is like. This is my reality. And it's so powerful that even though it's unlikely to be true, everyone is still going to confirm it for me anyway. Masterful. Doesn't mean it's not problematic, because the bitch is problematic. But if you want to learn manifestation, watch how he talks about himself. Try not to roll your eyes, but you got to start being like that. You don't have to be such a loathsome person ethically and morally, although you can if you want. Go for it. It's up to you. Anyway, I digress. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. 9:55 on the clock. I'm gonna go. What's today? Monday. I have a meeting at 11:30, and I'll probably be. I think I'm probably gonna go on at 7. Let me look. I'll tell you for sure, in case you see this audio and you want to catch me. I am planning to be on TikTok live tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Coast time, so 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I shall appear magically on TikTok to read for you $11, $22, and $33 readings. Have the best day. Take care.